Welcome in, everybody. We're diving deep today into making online courses more engaging, and we're going way beyond the usual, like the whole video lecture thing.
Right.
Our guide this time is called Beyond Video, Harnessing Multimedia for Engaging Online Courses, fresh off the press, February 6, 2025.
Yeah, and it's interesting how this guide really challenges that assumption that multimedia just automatically equals video.
Yeah.
Video is important, but there's so many other tools that are underutilized, and that's what's exciting to me.
You're right. And, one of the things that kind of surprised me was the emphasis on audio-only content.
Mm-hmm.
Why is audio making a comeback? I mean, we're in such a visually driven world.
I think it's more than a comeback. It's like a full-on resurgence, and there are a lot of really compelling reasons for it.
Okay.
For one, think about how much easier it is to create a high-quality audio recording than it is to, make a video.
Right.
The files are smaller, which is really helpful for students that might not have great internet access.
Good point.
And a 2024 study by the Online Learning Consortium found that students with limited bandwidth were 30% more likely to complete courses that used audio heavily.
Makes sense,
Yeah.
I guess. And the guide also mentioned that students actually prefer audio feedback from instructors as opposed to just written comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is that?
It's more personal. Instead of just seeing text on a screen, you hear your instructor's voice
Oh, okay.
explaining, your strengths or offering suggestions. And there's just a warmth and nuance to that you just don't get with text.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's more like a one-on-one conversation.
Exactly.
But-
And it's not just feedback. Think about audio recordings of guest lectures or interviews with experts in the field.
Oh, yeah.
Those become really valuable resources that students can access anytime.
Yeah, anytime, anywhere.
And then there's voiceover slide presentations.
Mm.
That format's really good for delivering, a lot of information efficiently.
It's true because it's so easy to just fall into that trap of walls of text on slides.
Right.
Nobody wants to read that.
Yeah, so think high-quality visuals with keywords on the slides that reinforce the audio.
Right.
And there's actually a study from Stanford University that found that students retained information 20% better when it was presented that way.
Wow. Okay, so we've got audio only, and then we've got voiceover slides. What other kind of multimedia gems are hidden in this guide?
Well, there's screencasting, which is really great for demonstrating software or processes, anything that has step-by-step guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the classic Khan Academy style. Where
Yeah.
You see the expert's cursor moving and you see them, working through it.
Right, like you're right there with them.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
great for visual learners.
Definitely.
And the guide even mentions these tutoring videos where instructors will explain a concept while they're working through a problem.
Oh, cool.
It brings that live classroom feel into the online world.
Oh, I like that.
What?
So it's a pretty diverse approach, this beyond video.
And we haven't even touched on video yet. That's right, because the guide doesn't completely, discount video.
Yeah.
It actually emphasizes its importance, but with a more strategic approach.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some of the strategies?
Well, first impressions are important. So they suggest starting with a warm and welcoming introduction video.
Okay.
And this isn't just about listing your credentials. It's about, showcasing your passion for the subject,
No.
sharing a bit about your background, even some hobbies.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
Yeah, to create that sense of shared humanity.
It's like you're inviting students into your world,
Exactly.
showing them that you're a real person who's
Yeah.
excited to be teaching.
Right. And then when it comes to actually delivering content, they recommend keeping those single presenter videos short and focused, under 10 minutes ideally.
Okay.
And then for step-by-step guidance or practical demonstrations, they suggest, creating dedicated how-to videos that break down those complex tasks.
So it's about respecting the student's time
Right.
and attention span.
Exactly. And then there's immersive video, specifically 360-degree video.
Oh, which is really changing things.
That sounds like something out of science fiction.
Yeah.
360-degree video.
It might sound futuristic, but it's a reality.
Okay.
Imagine taking students on virtual field trips to, archaeological digs or exploring the inside of a volcano or even diving into the human body.
That's wild.
The possibilities are endless.
Wow. So does it take a lot of technical expertise to create that kind of experience?
You might be surprised. The guide actually gives some pretty practical guidance on how to create those immersive videos without needing advanced programming skills.
That's great.
There are tools and platforms out there that are making this technology much more accessible.
That's good news for educators.
And no matter what type of multimedia you're using, the guide really emphasizes production quality.
Right.
even if you're making the materials yourself.
Yeah, because I can imagine like bad audio or distracting visuals or bad lighting.
Right.
That could really take away from the learning experience.
Exactly. You've put all this effort into creating the content. You don't want technical glitches to ruin it.
Right. So the guide offers practical advice on everything from, audio and lighting to scripting and even basic video editing techniques.
It's like a mini production handbook.
Yeah. And speaking of production quality, one aspect that often gets overlooked is captions.
So captions are about more than just accessibility.
Exactly. The guide really emphasizes that captions actually benefit all learners.
Okay.
They improve focus, they help with comprehension, especially in noisy environments, and they can even help with language acquisition.
I did not realize that about captions.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a 2023 study from UC that found that students who used captions actually scored significantly higher on comprehension tests.
Interesting.
And it didn't matter what their learning style or background was.
So it's about inclusivity then.
Exactly. And when it comes to captions, accuracy is extremely important
Right.
because even small errors can be distracting or misleading.
So it's not just about slapping on any old captions. They have to be high quality and accurate. Yeah, the guide actually goes into detail about specific principles for clarity, readability, and formativeness.
Wow.
It even covers technical stuff like synchronization with the audio and speaker identification.
So there's a lot to it.
Yeah, but it's clear that the authors see captions as really integral to creating an accessible and engaging learning experience.
So we've talked about audio-only content, voiceover slides, screencasts, even immersive video. It seems like there are so many options beyond just those traditional video lectures.
Yeah, and amidst all this technology, the guide reminds us that quality is more important than quantity.
Oh, so you don't want to just throw multimedia into a course just to have it.
Right.
It needs to be intentional.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's about making choices and selecting multimedia elements that are going to genuinely enhance that learning experience.
So how do educators know if they're striking that balance? Are there like any benchmarks or anything?
Yeah, the guide connects multimedia choices to Quality Matters standards,
Oh, yeah.
which are used for assessing online course design.
Okay, for those who might not be familiar, can you give us like a quick rundown of Quality Matters?
Yeah, sure. Quality Matters is a nationally recognized peer-reviewed process that ensures quality in online courses. Their standards cover a lot of things like learning objectives, learner engagement, accessibility, and of course, multimedia.
Yeah.
They basically provide a framework for creating those effective and engaging learning experiences.
Okay, so it's not just about the technology.
Right.
It's about how it's all integrated together.
Exactly. And by aligning your choices with Quality Matters, you can make sure that you're using technology in a meaningful way.
That makes sense. Now, this is all really great information, but like, what does it actually mean for someone who's creating online courses?
Well, this guide is like a treasure map,
Oh, cool.
packed with practical insights and strategies. It's a roadmap for educators who want to move beyond those traditional video lectures and embrace the full potential of multimedia.
So this guy is not just for educators.
Right.
Like, even if you're a student.
Yeah, students can benefit from understanding these concepts and advocating for the use of different types of multimedia.
Yeah, I mean, students have a voice.
They do.
And even for those of us who aren't directly involved in education, it gives us a glimpse into how technology is really shaping the future of learning.
It's an exciting time.
It really is. Now, before we move on, I want to ask about this final thought in the guide
Okay.
that focuses on emerging technologies like augmented reality and artificial intelligence. So, like, what role might those play in the future of online learning?
Well, this deep dive has been focused on established multimedia formats,
Right.
but the guide really wants us to think further ahead.
So paint a picture for us. What might learning look like in a world where AR and AI are seamlessly integrated into these online courses?
Okay, well, with AR, imagine students interacting with 3D models of artifacts
Oh, wow.
right from their living rooms, exploring ancient ruins without leaving their desks, or even dissecting virtual organs.
It's like a whole other level.
It's about bringing the world into the learning experience.
Yeah. Breaking down those barriers of time and space.
That is really cool. And what about AI?
With AI, we're talking personalized learning paths that adapt to each student's needs.
Okay.
Intelligent tutoring systems that give real-time feedback and support, and even automated assessment tools.
So is it like replacing humans with machines?
I think it's more of a partnership,
Mm.
a collaboration between human instructors and intelligent machines.
Okay.
AI can handle those repetitive tasks like personalized feedback or tracking student progress.
Okay.
But human instructors bring something that AI can't replace, like empathy, creativity,
Yeah.
critical thinking, and the ability to inspire students.
That makes sense.
Technology can facilitate connections, but it can't replace the human touch.
Yeah.
The shared passion for learning, the humor, the spontaneous insights that make learning come alive.
Right. And that goes back to that idea of instructor presence.
Exactly.
That's something that technology just can't do on its own.
Right.
So this deep dive has been a really incredible journey.
We've explored this world of multimedia online education.
Yeah.
We've uncovered these hidden gems like the power of audio, the importance of captions,
Right.
and we've even ventured into this futuristic realm of AR and AI.
It's been a fascinating exploration.
It has. And hopefully our listeners are walking away feeling inspired and
Yeah.
empowered.
To embrace the possibility.
The future of online learning is bright.
Yeah. Filled with innovation and opportunities.
So as we move forward into this exciting new landscape, let's remember to keep the learner at the center of it all.
Absolutely.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of multimedia for online courses. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you've gained some valuable insights.
Yeah. Until next time.
Keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing those boundaries.
Yeah. Keep exploring.
See you next time.
Bye. Yeah, it really is amazing to see just how much is possible now with online learning.
I know, right? I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we were talking like static text and endless PowerPoint slides, and now it's like immersive virtual field trips
Yeah.
and AI tutors. It's crazy.
It really shows how technology is not just changing how we deliver education, but it's like changing our whole idea of what learning can even be.
Yeah, and speaking of expanding those possibilities, I wanted to go back to something you mentioned before about the guide emphasizing quality over quantity
Right.
when it comes to using multimedia. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's worth emphasizing because I think it's really easy to get caught up in all the cool new tech and think that more is always better.
Right.
But when you're talking about multimedia in online courses, it's really about being strategic and purposeful.
So it's not just about throwing in every bell and whistle you can find.
No, it's about really thinking about what's going to support the learning objectives, what's going to engage the students, and what's going to create a truly meaningful experience.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how can educators know if they're hitting that sweet spot? Does the guide give any specific advice?
It does. The guide actually connects multimedia choices to the quality matters standards we were talking about earlier.
Right.
Remember, those standards give us a way to evaluate how effective online courses are, and they specifically look at how multimedia is being used.
So if an educator is already using Quality Matters to design their courses, then they're probably already on the right track with their multimedia choices.
Most likely. Yeah, the Quality Matters rubric has specific criteria related to multimedia. Like it emphasizes accessibility, making sure that everything aligns with the course goals and that it all contributes to a positive learning experience.
Okay, so it's a pretty well-rounded approach. It's not just about the technology itself, but also about the impact it has on the student.
Exactly. And the guide gives some really helpful examples of how different multimedia formats can be used to meet specific Quality Matters standards.
Okay, cool. Like what?
Well, for example, it highlights how audio feedback can be used to really engage students and provide personalized support,
Right.
which connects directly with Quality Matters focus on student-centered learning.
That's a really good example. It shows how the guide is giving educators practical strategies, not just abstract ideas.
Yeah, it's both theoretical and practical.
Now, I wanted to touch on something that I thought was really interesting in the guide. The discussion about captions and how they can benefit all learners, not just those with disabilities. Can you talk a little bit about the research behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's this misconception that captions are only for people who have trouble hearing,
Right.
but there's actually a lot of research showing that they help everyone learn better.
Really? What are some of the specific benefits?
Well, for one, captions help improve focus and attention.
Okay.
They give you that visual reinforcement of what you're hearing, which is especially helpful for visual learners or people who get distracted easily.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially in an online environment where there's so many distractions.
Right, exactly. And on top of improving focus, captions also help with comprehension, especially in noisy environments or when you're dealing with difficult vocabulary.
So even if you don't have any hearing problems, captions can still help you understand the material better.
Absolutely. Imagine you're trying to watch a lecture video in a busy coffee shop or on a noisy bus.
Yeah.
It's hard to hear what's being said, but with captions, you don't miss any of the important information.
Right. It's like having a built-in study guide Right there on the screen.
Yeah. And the guide even mentions research showing that captions can be helpful for people who are learning a new language.
Oh, wow.
They can see the words written out while they're hearing them spoken, which helps them learn vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And all of these benefits together create a more inclusive learning environment.
Mm-hmm.
By using captions in online courses, we're making sure that everyone has equal access to the information and everyone can learn in the way that works best for them.
Yeah. And it shows that accessibility isn't just about following rules. It's about creating an environment where everyone has the opportunity to succeed.
Exactly. And the guide goes beyond just talking about why captions are important. It also talks about how to do them well.
Okay, so there's a right way and a wrong way.
Right. It emphasizes things like correct grammar and punctuation, avoiding jargon, making sure the captions are timed correctly with the audio.
Yeah.
It even talks about how to handle speaker identification in videos with multiple speakers.
So there are a lot of details to think about.
Yeah, but the guide makes it clear that it's all worth it in the end.
Right, because good captions can make a big difference for learners.
Exactly. They're a key part of creating an online learning experience that's both inclusive and engaging.
So we've covered a lot in this deep dive. We've talked about all these different multimedia options, from audio to immersive video.
Mm-hmm.
We've discussed the importance of quality over quantity and aligning our choices with those quality matters standards.
Right.
And of course, we've talked about making sure everything is accessible for all learners.
It's been a really interesting conversation.
It has. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to that thought-provoking question that the guide leaves us with.
Yeah.
The one about augmented reality and artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
These are the technologies that could really change everything about online learning.
They could.
So let's put on our future thinking caps for a minute.
Okay.
How do you think AR and AI are going to shape the future of online learning?
Well, with augmented reality, imagine students being able to interact with 3D models of artifacts
Oh, wow.
right from their living rooms, exploring ancient ruins without leaving their desks, or even dissecting virtual organs.
It's like a whole other level.
It's about bringing the world into the learning experience,
Right.
breaking down those barriers of time and space.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
And what about AI?
With AI, we're talking personalized learning paths that adapt to each student's needs.
Okay.
Intelligent tutoring systems that give real-time feedback and support, and even automated assessment tools.
So is it like replacing humans with machines?
I think it's more of a partnership, a collaboration between human instructors and intelligent machines.
Okay.
AI can handle those, repetitive tasks like personalized feedback or tracking student progress.
Right.
But human instructors bring something that AI can't replace, like empathy, creativity, critical thinking, and the ability to inspire students.
That makes sense.
Technology can facilitate connections, but it can't replace the human touch,
Yeah.
the shared passion for learning the humor, the spontaneous insights that make learning come alive.
Right. And that goes back to that idea of instructor presence.
Exactly.
That's something that technology just can't do on its own.
Right.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be, working in online education. It feels like things are changing so fast.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just the technology itself, right? It's about using these tools to create learning experiences that are more engaging and effective and inclusive for everybody.
Yeah. And, you've touched on this a few times already, but I think it's worth saying again, just how important it is to design these online courses with accessibility in mind. It's obvious that this guide sees that as a fundamental part of the process.
Oh, absolutely. Accessibility is like woven into the DNA of this guide. It's not about checking boxes or meeting some minimum requirements. It's about creating an environment where everyone can be successful, no matter their abilities or disabilities.
Right. And it goes way beyond just captions too, right? There's so many things to think about when you're designing for accessibility.
Oh yeah, tons of things.
Right.
Like you want to provide transcripts for any audio or video content.
Thanks, so.
You want to use clear and simple language, design layouts that are easy for people using screen readers to navigate.
Yeah.
And you want to offer things in different formats to fit different learning styles.
So it's about moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be more flexible and inclusive.
Okay. And this guide gives educators the tools they need to make those changes.
It does. It's like a step-by-step guide to creating online learning experiences that are truly inclusive.
Now, we've talked a lot about the potential of augmented reality and artificial intelligence in education.
Yeah.
But I got to ask you something.
Okay.
Do you think these technologies are going to eventually, replace human instructors altogether?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. It's something a lot of people are wondering about.
Yeah, and it's not a simple answer. AR and AI can definitely automate some parts of teaching and learning, but I really believe that the role of the human instructor is never going to go away completely.
So it's not about replacing teachers with machines.
Right.
It's more about finding ways for technology to support and enhance what teachers do.
Exactly. It's like a partnership or a collaboration between humans and these intelligent machines.
Okay.
AI can take care of things like providing personalized feedback or tracking students' progress or even teaching basic concepts.
Yeah.
But human instructors have qualities that AI just can't replicate, like empathy, creativity, critical thinking, and the ability to inspire their students.
That makes sense. And it kind of brings us back to that idea of instructor presence that we talked about before. That human connection that technology can't fully replace.
Exactly. Technology can help facilitate connections, but it can't replace that shared passion for learning, the humor, the spontaneous moments of insight.
Yeah, those are the things that make learning come alive.
Right.
This deep dive has been amazing.
It has.
We've explored so much about multimedia in online education.
Yeah.
From audio to immersive video to AR and AI.
It's been a really fascinating exploration.
Hopefully our listeners are leaving with a sense of inspiration and excitement about all the possibilities.
I hope so.
The future of online learning is looking really bright.
It is. It's full of opportunities to create learning experiences that are truly transformative.
Yeah. And as we move forward, I think the most important thing is to keep the learner at the center of everything we do. Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dives into the world of multimedia for online courses. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. We hope you've learned a lot and that you're feeling inspired to explore all the possibilities that technology has to offer in education. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Next time.